what's up, how's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best in your custom computing creation needs, whether it's for a gaming PC, whether you're a musician, whether you're an artist, graphic designer, or just want one hell of a personal computer. Dark Fusion Systems can build the perfect one for you. Get $100 off using the code CPPOD at checkout after your entire bill at darkfusionsystems.com. Link strip to the podcast below. Go check it out. Go get your own computer built and get $100 off. Oh yeah. Now it's a feature presentation. We're going metalcore once again with a band that reached out to me on Reddit. It's Advents, and their brand new EP, Persona Melodies, is out now. We dive deep into it. We talk about the emotion behind songwriting, and then some of these lyrics got written in the middle of the hot tub, guys. We hear that story and a lot more. You guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. I find bands in some of the most ridiculous ways. Sometimes it's just, PR firms. Sometimes I reach out to bands on different platforms. Sometimes they reach out to me. This is a first because this band reached out to me off of seeing a comment on the metalcore subreddit. I've never had that happen before. They said, hey, can you guys check out our EP? Can you check it out? Just see what you think. And if you want to bring us to the podcast, let's do it. Well, I checked it out, and good fucking God, was it good. So we bringing them on. We're talking about it. The brand new EP, Persona Melodies, is out now. So go and check it out right after this episode. But please welcome Spizz and Joe from the band Advent to the podcast. So gentlemen, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
What's up?
What's up? Thank you for having us.
What is up, guys? I should have started out with what the fuck is up, Denny's? Because, well, it's metalcore. It makes sense.
Yeah, it'd be relevant.
Never really gets old, does it?
No.
It's the one call out and the one meme that will never get old in the music community because it's just so randomly funny, but everyone knows it, so it ain't dying.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't going the way of the original Penguin memes or Success Kid or Bad Luck Brian. No, what the fuck is up, Denny's is forever.
Yes.
Yes, sir. You see the dude? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say his voice. You have a very radio-esque voice.
He does. I was just thinking that too. Perfect. It's like
hey, everybody! So we're like, let's get it. Let's go.
You guys aren't the first people to say that. I've had a couple of people say that. I had another podcaster ask me, "Did you do college radio when you were in school?" And I just said, "No, but I would have been damn good at it." Wouldn't I have? I maybe missed my calling. I missed it in college, but I finally found my calling when I was 24 years old. So better late than never.
I was to say, yeah, for sure. That's actually. I mean, I think a lot of people nowadays don't figure it out until their mid-20s or so. So,
fuck, there's certain things I still haven't figured out yet. I mean, I'm still podcasting. I'm still having a blast with it over 5 years, but I still have to work a full-time job because this isn't paying the bills yet. So, still trying to figure out that part.
You'll get there in time.
Persistence.
Just be persistent. That's
Persistence
what you are.
is key. We'll all get there at some point in time, but when it comes to the new EP, I do want to jump into that right away. Persona Melodies, it came out right at the beginning of the year on January 5th. It's got 4 songs to it, and overall, again, the EP's been probably about for around a month now, so what has the reception been overall for this thing that you guys have seen, whether it's on your own socials or as you guys, where I found you guys and where you guys found me, pushing it out on Reddit? What has been that response?
Yeah, Kaz, you go.
I think it's been great so far, honestly. A lot of people reaching out to us, a lot of usernames we've never seen before, a lot of comments, a lot of messages. You mentioned Reddit where we met. There's people that see our name, that's me in there just commenting on stuff, and people will just hit me back randomly on a totally separate discussion, and they're like, love the EP, and I'm like, I didn't even know you knew us. So it's definitely been good so far. It's been a lot of fun to put the songs out and talk to people about it. We just played our first show, which I'm sure we'll get to, but the response there was really good. So it's been fun.
Yeah.
Oh, we can get to that after we dive deeper into this EP, because I was hoping the response would be good after listening through it myself, because again, when I started listening to music, just really getting into it after you guys reached out on Reddit, I had no idea what to expect. All I knew was that this was going to be something I was going to at least enjoy, because metalcore subreddit, I enjoy that kind of music. It definitely makes sense. But going through the 4 songs we have on there with Red 13, LCD, Chroma, and of course, Never Game Over, one thing I enjoyed about each song was I was trying to figure out what your sound and what your style was overall. Of course, you can't really do that through a 4-song EP. You want to find out what else the band has around there, really get into it. But there was a lot of different types of experimentation in here with your sound that I was very curious about, because there were instances when I listened to every single song there that they just had these unique points to it, where I was picking out like, oh, this band, like there's influence from this band over here. There's influence from another band over here from a completely different spectrum. But in the end, there was still this like overall produced cyberpunk kind of metalcore feel to it that was really at the core from each and every song. So in the end, through this EP, I'm like, I already kind of found out where a core sound for you guys comes in. But now I'm seeing the potential where how far you can go with this and how you can experiment with this to really create these styles, really create these songs, really create these impactful just messages and meanings that people are going to take, and the storytelling through what you're going to create here. So I was damn impressed with that.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
That was deep.
Yeah, that's like probably one of the nicest compliments we could get, because it's like we talk about that a lot. Like we wanted to start this band by not putting ourselves in a box. Like a lot of bands have their sound and then they tie themselves to that sound, whether it's themselves or fans of that band. They expect something, but even our first EP and now it's kind of like we kind of just do whatever the hell we want. And I think people have come to know us as that band, hopefully, like you're saying. And like you just met us and you got that impression. So I feel like now, so early in our, career, 2 EPs in, like we're going to just keep rolling with that. I think like make what we want to hear. It'll sound like us, but we could kind of experiment. And even some of the stuff we're working on now, you might be like, holy shit. Like I know it's Advents, but like, this is the same band that wrote like LCD. Like it might get you by surprise. So that's really cool to hear. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll say in between like LCD and Chroma, those are 2 songs I at first thought like the same band wrote these songs and they're back to back on an EP. That doesn't really make sense to me, but I guess it's gonna work, which it absolutely did. But what you kind of said about, you don't want to put yourself in a box musically like some artists have in the past, it does make a lot of sense where I'll use a band like, even though I do like the band, I'll use Breaking Benjamin as an example. When it comes to Breaking Benjamin, you know exactly what kind of sound and what kind of style to expect on every single record, every single step of the way. That's nothing against Breaking Benjamin. They found a style and a formula that perfectly fits them and perfectly impacts the fans the way they want to. I mean, they're playing large venues, they're playing amphitheaters, they're headlining festivals. So it does make sense. But you see a lot of bands that are really popping off lately, especially, since the pandemic. Use a band like Bring Me the Horizon, constantly changing over time to the point where you don't know what to expect anymore. Bad Omens, from what they started with their original album to what they did on Death of Peace of Mind to what they're going forward with. Again, completely different things. Sleep Token. We have this feel of what Sleep Token is, but we know they can go very soft melodic, but they can also do stuff like the Summoning and have this intense, heavier part to it, and then have some weird, like funky, ending to the whole entire song that doesn't make any sense. We can see it with Falling in Reverse too. See all the different things that Ronnie Radke's been able to put together in a couple of songs. So a lot of bands that are really getting that like headwind right now and really gaining a lot of popularity throughout the music scene and taking this new sound of metal and really bringing it to be more popular through the masses, it's because they're experimenting with so many different things. It's because they have this core sound that you can always rely on, but they have the experimentation written in there to expand on what they can do, and they're never held back by expectations from the fans or that they have to do something themselves. Like they have to keep this certain sound in order to appease what they've already created. It's if you're going to start out with that openness and be able to be free and continue to try things, then that's what fans are going to expect. And the more that fans expect that, then it allows you to continue to try different ideas. Another band comes out with something and you get inspired by it to put your sound into something that they're doing. You just get a piece of it. Boom, go for it. See what happens. We're expecting manic craziness at this point when it comes to your writing. And that's what we want. We want you guys to write how you want to write and not be held back by any expectations or by being restrained to a certain thing that the genre wants you to.
Yeah, I was going to say this most simple way you can break that down. And I know this now after, being in this band for being officially a band for almost 3 years, but being in the band for like 5, is that it's more just about, it's like those bands, what they're doing is they're just having fun. That's all they're really doing. It's like, it's just, you're like, all right, because when we started the band, we weren't like, maybe in the beginning, some of us were like, we want to sound like this, or we want to have this sound. But then we instantly, with our first EP, we're like, we decided to go to a producer, and the guitarist of the band the shirt that you're wearing right now, Ricky Armelino, and he kind of broke our minds a little bit on things. He kind of like readjusted us to have a different mindset on things. And I think that was where we kind of were just like, well, it doesn't really matter. Like, let's just make it sound, let's just have fun with it and make it sound like us and not try to sound like anybody else. Obviously, we're going to have influences. But I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, we just, like, especially with this last EP more so than anything, I think we just had fun. And we were like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's do this, or let's add this in there. Let's throw this, let's do this melody or whatever. Like, it's fun. And I like to think like Bring Me the Horizon and Bad Omens, they're kind of the same way, where they're just like, let's just have fun with it. Like, we're not Bad Omens or Bring Me the Horizon. We don't have a fan base obviously like theirs, but we don't necessarily have people don't really have expectations for us, which is cool. They just enjoy the music. So it's just like, we don't really get in our heads too much about it. We just try to have fun. And like Ka said, the next EP will probably be, it's pretty much done now, but it's going to be completely different. Not completely, but it's going to have those elements like you said. But it's also going to be, we're still having fun, as I would put it. We're still having fun.
So I like the way you put it too, and like working with Ricky Armelino, who his name always comes up on this podcast in some form or fashion, whether it's from you guys. I remember the band Enox brought him up as well when they worked on a song with him. I once interviewed the band, If Not For Me, and they were literally writing and working with Ricky during that episode that we recorded. So their lead singer was sitting outside on a couch outside the recording room, and Ricky would video bomb every time he walked past. Like, he'd do something stupid every time. I was just sitting there like, so Ricky Armelino has essentially been a part of the Chord Progression podcast, and all he did was just stupid stuff. Now that's the kind of guy I like.
What's actually funny, from Enox, Mike, the vocalist, he was in the basement while we were tracking that EP. he was living with Ricky. So he was there while we were tracking, and he actually came in and helped us he was actually helping us with writing on one of the songs. I forget which one it was. And he actually threw on one of the songs, he threw a little bit of like backing track on it. Because once I was done, we left, and then he threw some backing stuff on there. So he's actually on one of the songs, but he's in the background. You don't really hear him that much, but he's there. So yeah, funny little tidbit there. But yeah, I know Mike, and I don't know them too well, but I know them. I've met them. They know who I am, and they're cool guys, really talented. Enox. They're actually playing a show on Saturday.
Shoot, I gotta get in my car and drive out by where you guys are, because I want to see that. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so might be a little bit of a drive.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah,
if you leave now, you might make it.
Yeah.
What's today? Thursday?
Yeah, today's Thursday. Man, I did the drive from Milwaukee to Danville, Virginia last year for the ill-fated Blue Ridge Rock Fest, and I just did that straight. So as long as the show happens, it won't be any worse than that.
Oh, dude, Blue Ridge is. You get into that. I feel like every year. I was in my last band. I played it in 2021, and it was a disaster then. And I think it's just gone downhill even more since.
Well, we're never gonna play that now. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was cool for us, but as a spectator, it seemed like it was hell. I think a girl sank into the mud down to her waist because the ground was just like not okay to be standing on, and like it was a mess.
Oh,
ran out of water.
Oh, I could tell you stories about both 2023 and 2021. I've got them. I was there.
Yeah, dude. Oh, you were in 21 too.
Yep, man. I was in 21 as well. That was yeah. We're just gonna leave it.
Yeah, it was, dude. We were there, and I was reading the articles like Loudwire, Metal Injection, whatever, on my phone as we were like, I think it was the day after we played. And I was like, it was just like everywhere, and I was like, I'm not really seeing this directly, but no like medical attention to people, like just like crazy, like. And then they were like, oh, it's not happening again. And then they're like, just kidding. Now we moved it, and then it was still a disaster. And I'm like, this, who's doing this?
Like, it's so,
like,
it
I know
wasn't-
who's responsible for it, but it's like, how are you not fixing this at this point?
I honestly don't know. I mean, before we get back to you guys, because I don't want to sidetrack too much away from the EP, honestly, I want to get as many people to know about this and really get into this. But when it comes to the whole entire thing with Blue Ridge, it was after 2021. They just kept getting the best lineups over and over and over again. So people kept wanting to go. 2022, the biggest thing that they went wrong was the busing issue, trying to get people back to their cars, because now you couldn't park on site, you had to park off site. But again, when you have that many people and only a limited number of buses making runs like 3 to 6 miles apart, that's only one way, so it's 6 miles total or 12 miles total. You're not going to get people in and out of there quick enough. When last year though, for 2023, everything we could figure out, everything started going haywire completely on day one once the massive like storm just formed over and came, because they tell people, take shelter in the buses. Well, you got 40,000 people there. You got maybe 70 school buses. Not everyone's going to fit in there. I hit under I think it was the first A10. I was under the whole entire time.
God.
I've got more stories about that I could share with you guys, but I don't want to get too much into it. I want to get back to you guys' EP specifically because I always like to ask this question, and I know it's going to be difficult for both of you guys because it's going to be like picking one of your children. But on the EP, on the 4 tracks, which one is your favorite personally?
It's actually easy, I think, for all of us. For everyone in the band, it's actually really easy, right? I mean, it's usually between 2, but there's usually always one that... Cause it's funny because this EP was kind of like... Everyone kind of had their own song, I guess. Well, at least, I guess 3. Well, I guess 3 of us did. Our bassist wasn't in the band until the end, but till like I think when did Christian join the band? After LCD was out or before it? I don't remember. Whatever. That's irrelevant. But
it was before we released anything, but it was after the process was done, so he wasn't involved in the writing, but
right, yeah. He knows his favorite song too, which is mine. Mine is a Chroma. Chroma, and then it would probably, if I'm gonna give you the order, it'd be Chroma, Red 13, Never Game Over, then LCD. But they're all songs to be proud of, I'd say. Be happy with. They all have different vibes. There's just a vibe that settles is more personal for me as Chroma.
It's also the same for me. I would say it's probably the same exact order, except Red 13 it's tough for me. Because Red 13 is a super personal song for me. It's basically lyrically it could relate to a lot of different things, but it was written from the perspective of like how my brain works in a lot of different ways. So on a personal level, it's tough to put that at number 2. But Chroma, and I also love playing Red 13. But Chroma just has something about that chorus, the way Spizz sings it. I know the place that Spizz was coming from when he wrote the lyrics and when he sang that, and every time I listen to it, I can hear the pain knowing his story, and also like, because I mean, pain makes the best music by and large, you could say. So it's like, at least in my opinion, so it's like to hear the way he executes the delivery of what I knew he was going through and how he put it poetically. I mean, Chroma has to be number 1, but like I said, Red 13 is right there for me.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I'll put it this way, I'm not surprised that Chroma is one of the top songs for both of you. That does not surprise me in the slightest.
Why is that? If you mind me asking.
I mean, I think because if I was thinking about my rankings for the songs and the way that I like them. Now, again, this is from someone who is listening to music for the first time, really just doesn't know much of the backstory behind any of these things or trying to figure them out. For me, and for myself too, I like stuff that is going to make me want to hit people in the mosh pit. Like, that's my kind of thing. Yeah. So for me, number 1 was LCD, then it was Chroma, then Never Game Over, and then Red 13 was number 4. And my main reason for that is because you listen to LCD, I'm like, I immediately listening to it, I'm like, I can feel when it comes to Advents, you guys have this like cyberpunk produced like just like this like manic metalcore style too there, but the manic came over in a feeling like I would get when I listen to Alpha Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And the vocals, even though they're not like, much different in terms of overall tone, but just the aggression that came behind them really matched up with that. So I'm hearing you guys really come out in this, musically with your sound, with this produced sound over the top that gives it more of this, like, I keep saying cyberpunk because that's the most way I can kind of describe it, where it's, you get these cranks on the guitars, you just get stuff that feels like, you're basically listening to heavy metal in the Matrix, but incredibly good shit though.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from for me. And that's why I like it the most. But then when it came to Chroma specifically, it took that style, that like cyberpunk electronic metalcore style that you had and throughout the rest of the EP, but then twisted up to make it this more cinematic and deeper emotional song with how you're able to play through all the instrumentals here. I did like it overall, because it kind of compared to like where Red 13 kind of had maybe a similar feel to it. I thought it brought it out a little bit better because you use that sound. You didn't have to make it super manic, which is a way that a lot of people would listen to that, but make this emotionally draining based on how you connect to the flow with these varying blank spots and the overall experience of this song. It just, everything connected together there. And at times I kind of was listening to the vocals, especially in the verses, the band that kept popping up in my head. I'm like, this feels like the band Red, which was something I wasn't expecting from you guys in terms of the overall like connection I was making to the song, but the emotional toll that the lyrics were taking, the emotional toll that the vocals were taking, everything around there really brought it forward. And you kind of even had something like programmed piano in there too to bring more of that cinematic flow to it. That was something that really made the song stand out and showed a completely different side compared to what LCD did. Like, you have two completely different ends of the spectrum here with both of those songs, but both of them worked out tremendously.
Thank you. That was
thank you.
Again, very deep. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's funny, LCD's your favorite song. We actually wrote the lyrics to that song on a hot tub. We finished we had 1 day left. We finished the song, we finished writing the song, and we had 1 day left. So that night we had to write lyrics like on the spot because we were gonna use one song that we already wrote, but we're like, no, let's not use it. Let's do another one. So we wrote it, and then that night we went into the hot tub because we didn't go in the hot tub yet. So in the
Our Airbnb had a hot tub, so
yeah, and we all went in the back. And this song was while we were like writing whatever, Seb, our guitarist. Now, I told you we all have like our own favorite song. That your favorite is Seb's favorite, and he wrote like this giant plethora of like angry Alpha Wolf. One of his favorite bands is Alpha Wolf too. So it's like this big giant like nonsense, but there was good stuff in there. It was nonsense. It was complete like I was like, what am I even reading? But I'm like, this is good because it's giving me ideas. So we all went to the hot tub, and it was like this whole like weird like thing where like I would be like, all right, how about this line? And then I would flow how I would do it. And then Koz would be like, that doesn't make any sense. What about this word? And I'm like, no, not that word. And then Seb would be like, oh, why not like this sentence? And I'm like, no, wait, hold on. And then sometimes like Koza would have a really good idea or would just grammar check me or whatever. And then Seb would be like, what about this line? Or maybe you should say this. And they're like, oh, that's cool. So it was just like this whole weird thing. We're in there probably dehydrating for like, what was that, like 3 hours, 2 hours?
Yeah, dude, it was not healthy at all.
We were in there for a long time.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and it's a memory. We actually made a video. I actually did record a video of it's on TikTok, and I think it's on TikTok. Yeah, and it's
like
just
buried somewhere.
Seb reading the lyrics in the hot tub, and he's so happy about it. So like, yeah, that was probably the heaviest song you're ever gonna get from us anytime soon. I mean, yes and no. It is probably one of the heavier songs you're gonna get from us in a while, but it's there. It's there. But like you said, like the ending one really, the last song, Chroma, is kind of, I would say, set the stage for what's coming next. So that's kind of also why we wanted to choose that as the last song, because we think it kind of, like I said, it kind of sets the stage for our next upcoming EP.
Interesting. So it's like that sound is just kind of the transition of what you guys are bringing forward next. It's going to be something that might be, not directly what Chroma is, but just kind of have that influence there to just build off of. And maybe, especially with Chroma having a little bit more of this emotional toll to it compared to stuff like Never Game Over and LCD, it's going to potentially dive deeper into more of those emotional aspects and those stories that you guys are feeling are going to tell us, so that when we connect with them, we feel that emotion and we bring forward more of those stories from our own brains and our own minds and our own experiences to your music to connect with it even better and allow us to really get deep in with Advent, have this period of time where potentially, maybe you get a song on there that something just absolutely hits on TikTok and it blows up and becomes the next Just Pretend. Who knows? It could happen. Maybe you guys come up with something insanely ridiculous and wacky and it makes no sense, but it's super duper well produced and very flowing, where it becomes something where, pops off like a Sleep Token song would. Or maybe you guys just go absolutely goofy as all hell on one song. Don't take the lyrics way too seriously. Take the music seriously. Don't take the lyrics as seriously. Just have a goofy time with it. And next thing you know, you're competing with Electric Callboy for funniest music video out there.
Well, I can tell you that that's probably not going to happen.
Ah!
It's going to always probably be serious, but I think the next ones are more I think they're more like I like one's really personal, but they're kind of similar to like how the sound in the EP was in the last EP, where it was like the sounds are kind of different all across the board, but they tied in. It's kind of how the lyrics are gonna be in this one, because we have some songs that we have one song that's like really personal, and then I have a song that I wrote that, well, I guess we wrote. Koza helped me more on these songs when we were tracking them and everything, and they're just kind of, like I said, they're all, I don't want to like say, and it doesn't really matter, but like they're just kind of all over. Like once they're kind of more like, what would you call it? Cause like some of them are kind of like more like, I don't know, setting kind of like a, I don't even know how to explain it. I should learn how to explain it, because
they all do. There's some. No, this is the first time we've spoken about it, because like it's not even done yet, so it's good that we're talking about it. I guess it's kind of like it sounds like us for sure. It has like we keep saying the word cyberpunk, but like it has the feel that you
the DNA
have. It's in the DNA of it. The sound that you're describing that you kind of know us for now. But it also feels like the term that's coming to my brain, even though it's funny, is it feels like a really big warm hug at the same time, but it's like still like metallic, but it's like more like dreamy, spacey.
It's baddie-core. It's baddie-core.
I don't know if you heard the joke about the new baddie-core phenomenon. Yep. There is a lot of that in there, but it was almost coincidental with all that stuff starting. We're just making the music we want to hear. Like and I think that's the key to a lot of this. It's like, if you enjoy it, and we definitely enjoyed the process, and I think that like comes across, and people like you seem to really enjoy listening to it. We're not really writing for anybody in particular. Like, I know it sounds super cliche, but like we're really not. Like, we're just in a band because it's fun and we're trying to take it as far as we can. But like these songs, like we all actually really do enjoy. So it's more of what you've heard from us, but it's also like a sound that we're dipping our toes in, as far as like further in the direction of like a Chroma, but different at the same time.
It's kind of like you're setting the scene for what your sound could be by exposing the larger landscape to a more emotional side of what Advents can be. That's what it kind of sounds like, and what you're going for.
Yeah, it's definitely more. I'd say it's emotional. Yeah, definitely more. I think I convey more emotion vocally in these songs than I have in previous ones, but yeah, we'll see. I don't even want to I listen to them all the time. I'm just like, I still haven't really processed how to like explain them, but I have to figure that out. I should know that, but I don't, because I'm still.
I don't know. I don't know why the hug thing came to mind, but it's like a.
It is warm.
I don't even know if that makes sense. It's just, you know what I mean, right? It's like they're fun to listen to. They're dynamic. There's a lot that people could relate to probably when you read the lyrics, if you were to, dissect them. Multiple interpretations, everything we've done. It's just the next iteration of it, I guess, the best way to put it.
So it's kind of like they're fun, but when you're talking about like that like hug feel, it seems similar to just feeling comfortable with where you are with that. Because you think about, it's like, you get it's like a warm hug from, let's say, like, someone you care about, maybe a family member. It's like, or if you're having a bad day and you go home and your girlfriend's there and she gives you a hug, and it's like, that kind of just makes things just like, okay, kind of just take a breath, and it's just kind of let all that, like, it's like an emotional catharsis release.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to, I mean, I don't want to speak for Spizz, but it would be it is the ultimate compliment when people reach out to us and they're like, like Red 13, for example. A lot of people don't know what that song is actually about and how it pertains to me personally and whatever, but they'll look at it through a different lens and say, like music does, like you relate it to where you're at in your life and whatever. And I have my favorite bands that I'm currently in past that I put on, whether I'm feeling, sad, pissed off, happy, and I interpret those lyrics the way I do. So if somebody is going to put on an Advent song and do the same for them, like that's the ultimate compliment. And I think these songs have those lyrics where it's like, I don't know what he's talking about, but like, I just had this thing happen to me, and like, this is like, how does he know that I'm feeling this? Like, if we reach more people and we can get them to feel something based on just like, us being in an Airbnb coming up with nonsense in our heads, like that's just really cool.
That's the thing. It's like, it's not I mean, I wouldn't call it nonsense, but it's weird because sometimes, like, when we're writing, it's like it's coming from somewhere. At least I went back to Nashville to finish a song, and I was in the studio, and my producer was playing Fortnite in the other room, and I was writing lyrics and trying, because we wrote the song before when we were there prior, but I couldn't track it. So like an idiot, I didn't really write anything because I wanted to go back in and try some different ideas. So yeah, but it was weird because sometimes I have sometimes, I mean, I don't know if you've ever written anything before, but when like some days you have like that block, and some days you can just write. And in this case, for some reason, I was just writing things down, and they were just coming to me. I'm like, where's this coming from? Like, it's coming from somewhere. But like in a weird way, it was like I didn't think about it much in the moment, but once I was done and once I tracked it and I heard it back, I was like it was like, this is like, it's a softer song, but I was like, this is like very like where did this come from? And then I'm kind of trying to understand myself in the process, because it's like I'm writing these things that are coming from somewhere within me, and it's kind of like a weird like awakening moment when I'm like looking at the paper. Well, when I'm listening to it, when I'm looking at the paper, I'm just like. And it's weird. It's like I kind of learned more about myself by doing that, because I'm the type of person who like represses things. So when that happened, I was like, oh, that's nice. But that happens a lot. That happens with pretty much every song for the most part. But I guess in this moment, I was by myself and I was left alone, and it was just weird. And yeah, it was cool.
Well, just by hearing you say, it's like when it comes to stuff, you repress these things just to kind of keep them in, and maybe not. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, also we're guys. We kind of just like hold back stuff because we don't want to burden people with their problems. But when you get to that point in time where you're alone, you're starting to write this stuff. That's the point in time where you can go back and revisit those emotions, revisit those things. And when things start pouring out emotionally, what kind of maybe happens in your brain is, because this is kind of the way I've always thought of it, where when stuff like that happens, when in your brain and you're starting to refeel those emotions again, you're mentally going back to that spot. You're mentally going back to that place for a certain period of time. Mm-hmm. And when that emotional state is so much more prevalent in your head once again, where it's like, it's kind of like a simulation, you're back to living in that moment, then you're going to write directly from that. And you're going to be able to rely right on that emotion that you're feeling in the moment to recreate how everything was. So when you're writing and you get things the way you want them, they come out as powerfully because you're writing them back from that simulated place of where you once were. Like for me, if I was to write something and try and write about how bad my year 2017 was, it wouldn't be as powerful if I was writing it and just trying to like force myself to do it. But if you put me in like a room for like 2 straight days and just by myself and just not like no contact or anything, and let me really dive deep into those emotions once again, you're probably going to get some really depressing shit to come out of me, right? Writing wise, but you're going to get something that's super duper emotional, because now I'm back in that simulated feel of what it was like to be going through that time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good way to look at it. I think also, like, pertaining to what you said, is like, it's also the music kind of pulls it out of you sometimes. Mm-hmm. It depends, like the song, like, for me, like when we write a new song and when it's done and I'm listening to it, I listen to it a lot because obviously I need to, figure out like what we're gonna do with it in the future, video wise and everything like that. But it's when you're hearing the song, it's like it's kind of invoking a feeling. Like I would even tell the guys like, oh, I feel this makes me feel this. Like I'll say words like, oh, it makes me feel like enclosed, or I feel like I'm fighting something, or I'm like, you know what I mean? Like some kind of emotion that's being pulled out of me when I'm listening to a song.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, oh, and I think when I was listening to this song, it pulled out something in me that was like that I haven't really felt, because it's a very different song. It's probably our most. I mean, we wrote it with well, he assisted us for a day, I'd say, but he was there helping with Landon tours of a plot, and
Mhm.
he and that's the song we did with him, and I was like, it didn't pertain to that, but that's why it's very different. It has a very different feel to it, very slower, softer, like emotional feel. So the music was kind of like pulling that out of me, and that was like, and that's cool, and that's what the song, that's what music's supposed to do. It's supposed to pull things out of you. But yeah, in that moment, I was just in my zone, and especially like once we finished the songs, and then I have to be like, all right, so like, what do we do for a video for this? Like, how do I pull this? And it's like, and like I'll just listen to songs over and over again, just like just picture things in my brain, like where would this be? Where would this be? I mean, have you seen the Chroma video? Have you seen the Chroma video?
Yeah.
Okay, so like that video, like I directed that and I edited it and everything. Um, but like that was perfect. It pretty much came out almost exactly how I'd imagine it. But I didn't think that when I wrote it. It just kind of came to me as I was like sitting there in my car listening to them, like, oh, like an old like 60s, 70s vibe, and like this person who's kind of like in two spaces at once, and one, and like internally in your mind there, she's like swallowing you up inside, and it's like that'd be cool. And then the black paint, and then the shots just came out really good. A shout out to Curtis Fowles for that one. But that was the cinematographer, the guy who shot everything. But yeah, I'll stop talking now. Sorry.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense where the music's gonna pull that out of you, because when you think about music, it gives tangible explanation to those intangible, emotions that we just can't explain. Because now we have something to absolutely relate it to. In our minds, it's like, well, how did it feel to go through this? You can try and explain it with words, but to try and get someone to absolutely directly feel that feeling and have an empathy with you, unless they've gone through that exact same thing, it's not really going to happen. But the way that music and sound just connects people and brings back these certain emotions and potentially just has these additional influences that allow us to have some sort of a semblance to feel these things, that's where things really come up. And that's why music gets to be so powerful. That's why when you hear something that's manic, heavy, just raw, just aggressive, you're feeling these emotions of angry, hyped up, just energized. You hear something that's going to be a little bit more draining, you're going to potentially feel these moments of depression, moments of just feeling alone, isolation. There's a lot of things that are in play here. So by letting the song dictate where the story is going, you're letting that emotional guide take place. So now when you're writing it, you're having that emotional connection. When you have those things repressed and you're reliving them, now they're coming back to your mind more clearly because of the music. So now you're in a place to work alongside what's already created, to put these words on paper, to create these lyrics, and to create that emotional story that's really going to hit hard given whatever the song is about, whatever the emotional vibe is.
You should be I was gonna say, it's sorry, like, not like to minimize what you said, but like you, like the way it's funny when you start talking in the beginning, like after I'm done talking, you sound like a therapist. Which is funny.
But he hits everything on the head. It's like
I appreciate
the way you're
your
wording
explanation
it.
on things. Like it's refreshing to hear, because I mean, interviewers usually don't do that. They usually don't. They're like, you're like expanding on my gibberish pretty much, which is great. But like in the beginning, like, yeah, that's fine. Like it's like it feels like I'm talking to like a therapist, but like in a good way. Like in a good way.
If to write on the board up here, just like therapy is in session.
Yeah, actually, you should use that as branding, like music therapy with bands. Be pretty good.
We could probably pull that off. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense, and then that's why we all continue to love music to this day. That's why there's a lot of bands that and artists that we just start connecting with on different levels that we didn't connect with, earlier on in life, because we've gone through different emotional things. I think about the bands I liked back when I was, in like high school, and the bands I'm really listening to and really liking today. Like if I listed my top 10 favorite bands of all time from when I was like 16, 17 years old till now, the list is completely different except for one band, and that's it. Like my top one still stays there on top, but everything else is shuffled because
Is it Metallica?
no, my favorite band of all time is Rise Against.
Oh, I love Rise Against.
Oh shit. Okay.
I love
All
Rise
right.
Against.
That
Yeah.
was a both Spizz and I both that middle school, high school era, like
I fucks with
I
Rise
was like, yeah, I haven't heard that name in a minute other than when we
Heavy.
talked
I
about
still
them.
fucks with them. They haven't released an
Yeah.
album, but I fucks with them heavy.
Yeah, they used to I taught myself a
Stuff
lot
I
of
don't
different
speak
shit
of.
on drums with those guys.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Wait, real quick. Your favorite, Kevin? What's your favorite album by Rise Against?
Suffer and the Witness.
Okay, I was gonna say. Okay, good. That was the right answer. I mean, what do you call it? A siren song for counterculture is good, but
Yeah.
Wow.
For me, it's like because I got into it right when Appeal to Reason came out, but when I listened to Suffer and the Witness, I'm like, I was blown away by it.
You
And
heard
then,
Savior, you're like, I love this band, and then you're like, oh, okay. Wait, Savior was on Appeal to Reason, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how I really started listening, because I know they had Prayer of the Refugee as a bonus song, Guitar Hero 3, but then it was like I heard Savior like every day, either going like in 2009, either going to or coming back from school that day, and I would never let like the car that I was in, I never let him change it because I loved the song, and I picked up on more and more, and I still think Suffer from the Witness has that perfect like combination between Rise Against still being that younger, heavier punk band and having a little bit more of that subtle like change. Perfect blend between where they are more the polished style, where the lyrics from Tim are really much more poetic and articulate coming forward. So now it's like that perfect blend of where Rise Against started and where they are now. It's in the Suffer and the Witness.
Yeah, I know. They'll never remake that ever.
I do feel like
that vibe.
there's a lot of stuff on Appeal to Reason that I feel like gets glossed over because of Savior. Like they're coming back. I haven't thought about these songs in so long, dude, but like Entertainment and I think The Strength to Go On is on that.
I hate fucking Entertainment.
Really? Dude, I
hate that song so
It
much.
is weird though.
Oh,
Strength to Go On though, I liked more.
Re-Education's good.
Re-Educate. Yeah, there's so many songs.
Audience of One is the best song on that album.
Audience of One hits.
That's a good one.
Hard emotionally.
Yeah, that's a bop.
Yeah, I just feel like Savior always gets the Enter Sandman.
I hate that song too. I hate that song and Entertainment album.
Entertainment's weird. It gets a little corny, I guess. But I remember as a kid, I was like, "What? This is fun." I was like dancing around. Strength to Go On, though, I think is super under. I don't know if it's underrated, but I feel like it doesn't get spoken about as much as it should.
No, Strength to Go On's a bop too.
I'll say you guys might absolutely hate me for this, but last year for like 3 days, Rise Against did 3 straight shows at the Metro in Chicago. And it was like the first night they played a lot of the stuff you'd expect them to play. I couldn't make it that night, but I went the second and third night, and it was all like from there. Outside of ending with Savior, everything was deep cuts. And like stuff I hadn't heard him play live ever, or hadn't heard him play live in like years. And some of the stuff they pulled out, I was just like, you guys are doing this? No fucking way!
Dude, honestly, I'm jealous because I know if they played, was it their first album? What was the name of that? I don't remember.
The Unraveling?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the one that Paper Wings is on, or is that the one after?
Paper Wings is on Siren Songs.
Was it on Siren Songs? Yeah, Siren Song is good. By the way, I'm gonna sound like a boomer now, but I probably, since I'm the oldest one here, it makes sense though. But I heard of them on, you guys remember Fuse? The team, they played Give It All, and I was like, oh, it's so cool. He's playing in a crowd of people. That's so sick. that's how I found him. I'm like, he's just shouting. I'm like, that's cool. And then the ending, I was like, that's so cool. That's so cool. And I couldn't even find the song. I tried to LimeWire it. I couldn't find it.
Tried to LimeWire it and end up getting like the completely wrong song and 3 viruses on the family computer.
Just saying, ended up with porn at the end of it.
You know what's funny? I built my first computer. My parents never bought a computer for us until like a few years after, but me and my friend Sean would go out and we'd walk around because he got a computer, and we would walk around and people would throw out old computers, and we would just pick them for parts, and then we built mine with old parts from garbage computers, which is pretty cool. And then after that, I was like, how do I get internet? We'll dial up at the time.
Dude, oh my
So
God,
I feel so
remember that
fucking
shit.
old because like now like most people are like, and me even saying this makes me sound old. All right, I'm just
Oh no, dude, I remember. I got the tail end of dial up. I remember the sound.
No,
Um,
the sound is embedded in my brain.
it's
I
just
miss
aside from like not the throwbacks on TikTok you see of the sound. Like I remember what, like I'm sure you did too, like witnessing the sound, like, and it never worked.
you know what's
And then
yeah no
it
I
was
mean
just horrible.
what I remember is it working, and then more than the noise, I remember AOL Instant Messenger, the doors opening on
Oh
AIM.
yeah, and
And then if
closing
you're
from
looking for
yeah.
your crush to see if she's online, because she hasn't like she's not online, you're like, oh, and you're like, God damn it. And then you're like, and it says they're away, and you're like, oh, should I message them? Dude, I'm literally giving like, you don't remember that? Like you'd see them or they'd have a message and you'd be like, oh, they just updated the message, which means they didn't message me. And you take it all personal, like
Oh yeah, I remember, dude, the edgy away messages too, where it's like mall, text me or whatever. You ever do that stuff?
What was your AOL Messenger name?
It was something
Oh,
horrible,
What about
dreaded.
something.
It
you?
was,
Mine was
Uh,
Anthony
mm.
Pyro.
I think mine was like
Serial
Joey with like
killer.
7 Ys. Like I don't
What
even
about
know what I
you,
was doing.
Kevin? What was yours?
I don't even remember what mine
No.
was. That seems like a terrible thing
It
for
was
someone.
Kevin Hell. It was Kevin Hell.
It was probably Kevin Hell, honestly. There, I
Kevin
know.
Hell with a heart.
I'm pretty sure Hell was at the end because, of course, like that's first of all is my last name Hell. I gotta use it.
Mhm.
That is pretty sick.
Yeah, that
To
is
be honest.
actually you like I got called Jizz all the time.
Well, I mean, I remember it was like playing fantasy football with my friends. It was like we always had like the abbreviation for your team name. Everyone puts I always put Hell on there, and they're like, "Well, oh no, you can't use." It. I'm like, guys, it's the first roll is my last name. Like I can use this. And one guy said, "Shit, he's right. He's got the coolest team abbreviation because he can use his last name, and it literally says that he's from the spawn of Satan." I'm like, "Yeah, my team's gonna kick your ass for saying that." Only ever won 1 year out of like the 10 I played, so I'll take it.
You actually could have
Name
made a
was
sick,
cool.
you could have made a sick band name called like just a tad of hell or something. I don't know. I'm thinking of names. I see Hell and Hellistad. It's Hellistad?
Hella said.
Hellistad. Okay, yeah, but like the tad at the TAD at the end, it's like how do you mix tad with hell? Tad of hell? Tad bit of hell? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. This is ADHD running my brain, so
It's going all over the place, man. But I mean, we kind of we were really focusing on the album, we're focusing or the EP, really focusing on even the new EP you guys are working on, and then we went off on a tangent of Rise Against and Dial Up.
yeah, you said Rise Against.
How did we get here?
Do you listen to While She Sleeps or no?
Yeah,
Yeah. They're like
Looking-
they even have like Rise Against vibes in their music. I can hear like some influence in there.
looking forward to seeing them in May. So
Damn it.
yay!
Wait, While She Sleeps. Oh, they're playing
With Mice Men and Architects.
Oh my god, it's gonna be amazing.
Oh, dude, you don't even have an idea of what that week for me is gonna look like. Cause let me think. It's Wednesday, May 15th in Chicago. I'm seeing Electric Callboy. The following day, I'm seeing Sleep Token. The following day the day after that, it's While She Sleeps, A Mice Men, Architect, Chicago. Then I get 2 days at Milwaukee Metal Fest because, well, that's where I am. I'm here. And the last day is being headlined by Slaughter to Prevail.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to get sleep that whole week, but who gives a shit? We're going to be in the pit the whole time.
Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Which is where
That's
everyone
sick.
should be when they go see Advents play live. In the pit, having a blast.
I mean,
Full circle.
Transition time.
Let's go.
if we ever play a show again, maybe.
Ever play a show again? Like,
I'm joking. We're gonna play a show again,
I
but
was
we
gonna say,
don't.
my hopes went from here to here because you said that.
Well,
It just took us forever to play our first, so I think
It
that's
took us 3 years to play our first show, so.
Okay,
that,
outside
Not a
that
trans
was
movie.
intended though. That wasn't unintentional. We didn't want to play a show anytime. We wanted to grow our fan base, which paid off in the end. So.
All right, I got to ask about that. So, like, why did you wait to grow the fan base on that? I've heard bands doing that. I know bands are doing that right now, but I want to get your perspective on it.
Do you want me to answer, Connors? I'll answer.
probably have slightly different answers. But yeah, I could.
I mean, I'll give my quick take without going on a tangent. I think the main reason was because obviously we wanted to like we didn't have enough songs. That was first and foremost. We couldn't play a show without enough songs. That's like the main problem. Secondly, we just focused on like the band. Like we're just focusing on like growing our sound, figuring out what our sound was, obviously, and then even after releasing music, we just wanted to keep that steady because that's what you have a song out. If you have one song out and you have songs that aren't even out yet, I mean, a lot of bands probably do that. They'll go and just play songs that nobody even knows. Just like it's not worth it. Like what for the quick like dopamine rush you get of playing a show, like which by the way, the dopamine rush probably would have been smart to play earlier because the dopamine rush that I got before we went on stage was so high that I was shaking like my body like even before we went on I was like completely like shaking because we sold what was it we sold how many tickets guys to what it was bigger than we thought it was going to be. Yeah, we almost packed out the venue. We almost sold it out. And there was just so many people. It was that more than I expected, but it was just crazy like that it was happening. And like the fact that we were practicing for it and like just everything just going on, up here. And I'm sure I speak for the whole band, but like it was just and Koza plays shows with, the other band that was on the bill as well. But like it was just weird. Like I think we all were just like in awe before we went on. We're just like, oh my god, we're actually gonna do this. But probably, like I said, that dopamine was 3 years of saved of stored excitement. So it was crazy. But forgot what the original question was.
Why we wait so long, right?
Yeah, why you wait so long and why you focus on building the fan base first?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, more or less. Sorry, I said I wasn't going to go on a tangent. Mainly, it was just so we didn't. We just wanted to have our our ducks in a row, whatever the fuck the saying is. We just wanted to make sure we were prepared. We're very particular with things in a band. Like we are very particular. Like we make sure that we have everything's handled, everything's good, everything's perfect. And there was just really no benefit to playing a show. I mean, playing what we would have played, if we had like 5,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, 20 people maybe would have came out or whatever, and then maybe you would have sold like 2 pieces of merch. Like it's not worth it. Might as well being mysterious made more sense, or like not mysterious, but you know what I mean. Not really playing a show yet, just kind of like I said, building our fan base online. Which
it built the hype too. Like people were asking us like, when are you going to play? And it's like, well, not yet, but here's another song. And then like, when are you going to play? And we're like, not yet, but here's another song. And then people started to like get involved more and be like, all right, when are you playing? And then we announced it and they're like, I've been waiting, it's 2 years of songs. Yeah. Like, so I think waiting was the right move for our goals for this. Cause with the internet now too, it's like, you could do anything. I mean, there's people making $1 million from a laptop at age 15. Like we have access to like, we could put the stuff out there and have, most of our fan base right now is in Australia. And we get messages where people are like, when are you coming to Australia? And I'm like, homie, we got to play New York and New Jersey before we get to Australia
anytime soon.
But it's cool as hell because it's like, well, we'd love to come. Like we got to afford getting there, but like, especially winning those people over because metalcore is thriving over there. And it's like,
oh yeah,
they've embraced us from the beginning, and it's like it's really cool to see. So now that we now that we got that first show like under our belt, I think jokes aside, like moving forward, we're going to be a lot more active in that area.
Well, not as active as
not a lot in terms of like we're going to be in Australia, but more active than one show every two years.
Yeah. Well, in this day and age too, it makes sense. I remember talking with the band Opal and Sky. If you've seen them, it's the 2 twins that they're all over like TikTok and Instagram, and they're kind of doing the same thing where they're going to build up their online following and build up the following around the music and all the things they're doing first before trying to go on the road and tour and go on stage like that. Just because they want to make sure that if they were going to do that it was going to be worth it. Like you guys said, you guys didn't want to go out and play in front of maybe like 20 people and sell maybe like 1 or 2 pieces of merch for a show. You guys want to make sure that if you were going to play a show, especially the first one, that there was hype, there was going to be buzz around it, and that was going to be a successful night, and people had that anticipation for it. I'm not sure if you guys watched the Cartman Land episode from South Park, but you kind of did that in a similar fashion where you're like, people want to go into the theme park or people want to go and see you guys play live. And you're like, no one can come in. No one can see us play live. I can't even see us play live. And then when the hype got so built up and you guys had enough songs, it's like, all right, we're ready to do this. And then you almost sell out a whole venue, which was, I think you said like 2-something tickets. So you probably almost sold out a cap of like 300 for your first show. That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. It was,
It was cool.
Actually, I think I literally didn't cry, but I teared up a little bit like the day after. When I got to the gym, I was like thinking about it. I was like, I was really reflecting on it, and my eyes started tearing up. I was like, oh. It's been like it's been a lot. It's been a ride. We're still on the ride, but it's been a ride.
This feels so good. I can't believe this. Oh, this is great. 1, 2, 3.
It was more like me just putting my head on my steering wheel. It was very anticlimactic. It was just like me putting my head on the steering wheel and then for like a minute tearing and then stopping and then doing this. I'm like, all right, and drink my pre-workout and go.
I was hoping to get happy. You were gonna get happy, emotional thinking about it while like sitting on the bench or getting ready to bench press.
I was vibing. The day after, I was completely high. I was like on a high. So I mean, I think we all were, right? I'm sure you were too.
Yeah.
We all were.
Yeah, it was cool. It was. I think part of it too is like.
Don't sound too excited, Cody.
I was gonna say I keep making it serious again, but it's like I think a big part of it was like so many people are like, don't do music. This like, when are you gonna, we all have real jobs, but like, you get the statement like, all you're doing is, why is he yelling so much, or like all the stuff that you hear making this type of music, and it's like we're 5 dudes that started a band and like we're just making music we want to hear, and like there were almost 250 people there or whatever. We met a family that drove down from Maine to see us, like our first show. Like I don't even know how many hours that is.
Crazy outside online. There's a line outside. It was crazy.
Yeah, there was a line out the door, and it's like we're just dudes that like listen to all different types of music, not even just metal. And we're like, this song sounds cool, let's put it out. And it's just been a growth thing. And like, yeah, the next day I was like, holy shit, like somebody came from fucking Maine, and another kid was from Massachusetts. Like I was like, oh my God, like just cool to see,
Yeah, it's like we don't take ourselves that I mean, we take our music seriously, but we don't take ourselves that seriously. So in that moment, it was kind of just like, oh, okay, cool. Like people, and then they meet us, and it's just like, we're not like, again, we're just like right now, it's the same way. Like I'm a goofball. Koza seems unenthusiastic about how. Not joking. That's just his voice. But it's just like that's just how it is, and it's cool. And we're hoping let's want more of that. So hopefully in the future we get more of that.
Yeah, let's get you guys some more of that. I mean, you've got people from Australia saying, "Hey, come over to the other side of the world and come play for us." I saw your like Spotify like top 5 locations, and the only place in the U.S. that had you guys on there, had a smile on that one because it was Chicago, and I'm like, that might mean they come my way. Yeah, because I gotta
maybe
because you guys come play anywhere around me. You guys play LCD. You guys are gonna see some crazy shit in the pit of me throwing everyone around for fun.
Well, we didn't even play LCD at the show. So. We actually cut that one. That one in Stigma weren't played. 2 songs we cut. But when we go, don't worry. When we come to Chicago, we will.
I was gonna say, when we come, you'll get 2 things. You'll get LCD, and then hit us up, or we'll hit you up, and we'll put you on the list, and we'll hang out and stuff whenever we make it out there. I don't know when that is, but we'll make it happen.
I'll say hopefully soon. But just because you said that, you're gonna like the way the podcast ends up ending. But I got one more question for you guys before we wrap this up. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's go.
So I was asked this question so that we, as people that love music, listeners, myself as well, get to know more about some great bands that you guys love, that you guys know about. And I always like to give them shout outs. So between the 2 of you, can you guys give me 3 bands that you want us to get to know more about that you are absolutely loving right now? And it's
should we say local bands? I feel like I should shout out the more local bands. But
yeah, that's kind of what I always look for in this. I mean, if you want to shout out local bands that you like, go for it. I mean,
I'll give you 3 locals, and I'll give you 3 not locals.
Wait, is this 3 total, or is it 3?
I'm gonna give them 6 because I'm breaking the rules right now.
Yeah, can we break the rules? We'll give you 6, 3 each.
Yeah, fuck it, break the rules.
I'll give you 3 locals. I mean, We're actually I'm gonna be seeing them next month. They're New Jersey locals. Hollow Sanctum, Hereafter. Both. Well, Hereafter is deathcore, I would call them. Hollow Sanctum's a metalcore band, and I don't even know who else. I mean, I know so many local bands. I'm like, which one should I say? But
Yeah.
back to that. But right now, I've been listening to and Deadlands. I actually been listening to more Deadlands. Recently, I've been listening to House of Cards. It's a bop. But recently, the new Battleman song that just came out like today or yesterday is really good. I don't know why I like it so much, but I do. I've been listening to Boy What, which is the SpongeBob cover.
Okay.
I've been listening to Neon Tide. That song's like, I don't know why the melody and the chorus just like hits. And I've been listening to Capstan.
Ooh.
Capstan's really good. I'm a big Silverstein. I grew up like bopping Silverstein. I still do, but they're like they give me those like different Silverstein vibes. So that's actually where I saw them, was at a Silverstein show, which is where I heard about them, and I was like, oh, this band's tight. So yeah, those would be my 6, the 3 local and the 3 ones I'm listening to that aren't so local. But go ahead, Taj, you can answer now.
Wait, you gave 6. I thought it was 6 total.
No, I was giving 3. I was giving 3 local and 3.
Spizz broke the rule, Spizz broke the rules. You can break the rules too. Go for it.
Oh, goddamn! All right, so now I gotta. This is like when somebody asks, like, what if but you instantly forget every band in existence. I'm gonna shout out Afterglow, who's on our song "Match My Misery." Super cool dudes from Mexico City. They just put out a record. I forget the name. I haven't listened to it yet. Apologies, but really cool band. I'm going to shout out. Did you say If I Were You?
No, I did not.
All right. If I Were You, we just played they were on our debut show. They just put out a record too. Very good. Just finished that one. So Afterglow, If I Were You.
You can say Feed Addiction too.
No.
Well, I just did.
You know who I am going to plug? I don't know them personally. I think I follow the singer. The band Desolate. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, from upstate New York.
That's a new one for me.
Super, super cool band. They do a lot of the if you like the cyberpunky vibe that we have, they have like kind of a similar thing going on, but more like anime influenced, like directly in the music. I'm not even an anime guy, but like whatever they're doing, I'm all for it. And I forget the name of the song they just put out, but I listen to it basically every day. I couldn't even tell you the name of it. It's just in my playlist. And yeah, Desolate. They're really cool. And then I want to keep breaking. Let me open my Spotify super, super quick. This will be really quick because I'll give you what's on I do playlists by seasons. Bridges Ablaze, another good one, from Texas. Friends of mine. And then I don't know, man. There's too many bands. I got a bunch of stuff. I got ASAP Rocky on this thing. Jesus Christ. I'm not shouting him out. He's got enough people. I'll give you one more. Actually, I'll give you a band that people should listen to.
Miles.
Miles. I'll give you one more that people should check out.
Miles.
A lot of people fell off this band when they changed sounds. Spizz is going to hate me for this answer, but latter era from the change, 100th is great. He likes, I don't know if you've ever listened to 100th when they were punk, hardcore punk.
I did.
But now they're like indie shoegaze electronic. Like, it's a different band with the same name. And I just love the vibe of their new stuff, so I'll shout them out too. I don't even know if they do anything anymore currently, but I'll give them 2. I think that's 5.
That was supposed to be. That was not supposed to be a 10-minute segment, but we made it.
Oh, I've seen that segment go longer. Trust me, I've seen it. I've seen it get drawn out because there's some people are like, "Fuck, I want to find somebody to say," and like somebody that's I want to plug somebody, but I can't think of anybody. Then we're going through Spotify playlists and we're like, which one are we going with? So
yeah, I just don't want.
I mean, we're all such big fans of music, so it's like I don't know. I mean, I'm all over the place.
Yeah,
I know Spizz is the same.
I just don't want to come off like we like hearing the sound of our own voices.
Yeah. It's like if someone
So,
were to ask me that question, it'd be like, okay, so what three bands am I going to plug from that I've had in the podcast this time? Like, do I go current? Do I go the ones that are like constantly returning? What do I do? Like, there's too many because I want to plug every single one of them. I make friends with a lot of the bands I talk to and get to know. Like, I'm like, shit, I want to keep promoting them as much as possible. It's
there's so
it's
many.
tough. There's
There's
way
so
too
many.
many. There's way too many. Well, guys, as we bring this podcast to its conclusion, I like to end this by doing three things. The first thing is I'm going to plug the ever-loving shit out of your stuff right now. So when it comes to Advents, when it comes to the brand new EP, Persona Melodies, when it comes to the next batch of songs they're going to be releasing, when it comes to following along with them and making sure that when they go and play live shows, that you are going to be in attendance. Best thing you do is go to the description of the podcast below where it says find Advents online. You're going to see links and labels for socials, for websites, for YouTube videos, for TikTok where you can see them reading lyrics in hot tubs, where you can stream the music, where you can support them anyway. It's going to be down there for you. I'm doing all the work. I'm going to be your personal Google on this. Don't let me down. Go and follow these guys. I got all the links down there for you. Now it's time for number 2, and this relates to something when you guys said, when we come out to show near you and you can come, we'll put you on the list. Well, this is what's going to happen, because if you do that, well, I'm just going to still show up anyway regardless, but I tend to make a certain promise to bands I enjoy from the podcast way to say thank you, and I wish to continue to support the band in the future. You guys hit on this, but because I had so much fun with this one, I'm going to make a slight edit to it, okay? So typically what I say is when I get to see you perform live for the first time, not an if, when, because when implies will happen, we just don't have a dare time yet. I always say that first round's on me. But I've done this a couple other times where I have literally brought a full case of beer to the band just because I enjoyed having you guys on the podcast, enjoy talking to them. Usually do this for my returning bands, but this time you guys come to Chicago, I am bringing you a full fucking case of beer like, hey, here you guys go.
That'd be sick. Thank you.
I'm gonna
Thank you so much.
hold on. I'm gonna be picky here. Instead of the beer, spring whiskey. We're gonna be good.
Jesus Christ, dude! I got a case of beer for you. Actually,
Well, because
was thinking it could have been
I can't
whiskey.
drink beer before the show. I mean, it's gonna make me bloat. Sorry, I have like.
I'll say, you think I'm bringing it before the show? I might have to find your van somewhere, like, or your bus, wherever it's going to be. I might find it afterwards, like I've done the last couple of times, and just knock down the door, and all of a sudden it's like, who is it? It's the beer man. Open the fucking door. And you guys open the door. I'm just like,
Honestly,
hey.
yeah, it will taste better because you brought it to us in the van, and it's free, and you're bringing it to us. So
Exactly.
broke boys. So
It's
take
delivered by Kevin. Oh, yeah.
sorry, I'm picky. I'm like, don't bring me beer, bring me whiskey.
You know what? We'll bring you a couple of like small shooters of Jameson.
That works.
All right, guys. Now it's time for number 3. As we bring this to its conclusion, I cannot end this episode by saying goodbye because, guys, this was a shit ton of fun. I want to bring you back on the podcast when that next EP is going to release. How about we run this back again and really focus in on that one to get more people to get ready for that EP too? Sound good?
Sounds good.
Sounds great, man.
So this cannot be goodbye, guys. This has to be. I'll see you later.
See you later. Goodbye.
Woo! Well, folks, that was my interview with Spizz and Joe from the band Advents. And now it's time for Kevin's final thoughts. So, I mean, we kind of ripped and we had a lot of fun on this one, too. Not going to lie. The hot tub story, just going off about Rise Against, their live show. Just a lot of fun stuff that we just kind of ripped on that I was really happy about. Trust me, anytime we could talk about Rise Against, you know I'm going to be a happy person. But I want to dive deep into what they talk about with their songwriting, how it gets a lot more emotional at times. And even when they said, like, it's like, talking to a therapist, when we're talking with you, the way you break things down, I'm like, that's a big compliment. So I'm going to thank them for that. But in reality, what I'm going to want to talk about with this final thought is I love how they kind of think about it, where even when Spizz is writing lyrics, like, yeah, he tends to repress things. He tends to keep things down, especially for us as guys. If you're men or if you are identify as that, we tend to emotionally keep things to ourselves. A lot of times it's because, people just don't care what we are going through. It's just the fact of life. That's just the way it is. I hope that you guys have people that care about what you're going through and are able to support you, but the majority of it is it's like it kind of just goes off shoulder. We don't think that way. That's kind of the way that's always been. So we tend to repress things. And what I like about what Spizz was doing when it came to his writing process was he's able to actually have that cathartic release behind just getting those emotions into up to the forefront and actually going through them and no longer just pushing down or repressing those emotions, and doing it in a way where he's able to create art out of it, but at the same time heal from it by creating music and letting the music dictate how the emotions are being played so that he can fully understand it. That's the beauty about music, though. We connect with it in so many insane ways because it gives a tangible explanation to those intangible things we can't explain. People can connect on different sounds and different tonalities because they know how it makes them feel, and we can empathize with how other people are feeling based off of that. It's a beautiful thing, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it. And I love the fact we can hear it in Advent's music, especially the song Chroma, especially that one. Go check it out if you haven't. Again, I like LCD because it's more manic, and if they said their guitarist Sebastian helped write it and he was a huge influence on it, it's one of his hugest influences, Alpha Wolf. Yeah, it's a freaking ripper. Trust me on that one. It just still just puts a smile on my face, honestly, just thinking about this stuff. I mean, how emotionally connected so many of us are with music. It's a beautiful thing. This band's going to keep doing it and keep experimenting with it, and I hope you continue to find emotional happiness and emotional just clarity through the music you listen to too. It's really helped me out a lot. It helped me out a lot in 2017. I mean, I was listening to a lot of Rise Against, Skill in 30 Seconds to Mars actually during that time. Now, of course, Rise Against is still my favorite band of all time. I don't listen to them as much, but they're always going to be number one. Skill I don't really listen to at all. 30 Seconds to Mars, nah, I don't listen to them at all anymore. But, you know, emotionally, they just impacted me in time I needed them. So it's a beautiful thing. Hopefully it's, you know, if you're struggling with something, hopefully music is impacting you for the positive in that case. When it comes to Advents, though, when it comes to finding online, streaming Persona Melodies, listening to it, supporting these guys, following along with them, go to the podcast below where it says find Advents online, links, labels for everything are going to be there. Make sure you're also following along with us at the Chord Progression Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, links in the description of the podcast as well. Hit the subscribe button right down here on YouTube. And you can also subscribe on Spotify, Podcast, Radio, Amazon. New episodes of the podcast every single Tuesday and Thursday. Biggest bands in the scene we're trying to bring on. And of course, we're always going to support the up and comers as well. Also on YouTube, we do the Friday React. So be part of that. Also like the episode too on YouTube or Spotify, Podcast, wherever you are. Helps pushing the algorithm, helps get us to know more people. Thank you for your support. On that note, that's it today, guys. Thank you for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin. And you guys know how I end every single one. So big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah.